Yeah, nice.
You've seen those already?
Yes. Alyssa, did you see? Oh, wait, there's multiple copies.
Everybody's got a red folder.
Oh, we all have our own red
Yes.
folder.
Those are the
I lost
things
my
that I
red-
just reviewed.
Did you?
I think mine's under there.
Yeah, it's down there. That's down.
1, 2. I tell Jeff to try it
Okay,
again.
Jeff says I'm in.
I don't see him.
Oh,
Well, maybe. See, maybe he is. Nope. Yes, maybe, no.
I see you. See you too, Jeff.
All right. All right, now he's a panelist, so
All right, good. Okay.
you can listen to him.
All right. We'll kick off this meeting. Today's Monday, August 11th.
Let me just hit
Yeah.
forward here. Wait a second. Forward to the ground.
Recording in progress.
We have a skeleton crew tonight. I'm Sabrina Dunlap. We have Stephen Whitley and Alyssa McCann and Vicki Bram. They'll be here, and Jeff Donahoe is with us on the phone. So I will move that we allow Jeff to join via Zoom.
I'll second.
All right, so it's a roll call vote. Stephen?
Yes.
Yes. Alyssa?
Yes.
All right, and Jeff?
You all.
You're in. Okay. Does anyone have anything for points of pride?
Do not.
Here.
Thought I had one, I didn't write it down. That's.
I want
Okay,
to
thanks for being
congratulate,
along.
I want to congratulate Paula and the rec department on an awesome summer season. The pool closed this past weekend and despite.
yes.
I said pool. In my head, it's like a pool, the pond, thank you. Closed this past weekend. And despite being faced with staffing shortages and numerous logistical issues, she pulled off an awesome summer in which
Mhm.
the pond was available throughout the entire summer to everyone. So go
Mhm.
Paula.
I
Second.
agree.
No.
Okay. Next up, we have administrative. So we have approval of consent agenda up first.
Can we, before we vote on this, pull out the abatement request for Buzzwell Corner Road?
Yes.
I just had a question about it before we voted on it.
Yeah. So the two that are listed here?
Yeah, because I think they're linked together.
Mhm. So I haven't done this in a while. Pull it and then vote on it, or do we hold on voting? Hold on voting.
How did we do it last time? I think we voted to pull 16 of them.
Yeah, I think we can do the rest of the consent agenda, just noting that those items are not part of the consent agenda anymore.
Okay. Would you like to move that?
Oh, sure. So I will make a motion that we adopt the consent agenda except for the pending abatement request for lot 621, map 621, lot 1, and map 262, lot 1, both on Buzzwell Corner Road to be discussed separately.
Okay, 261 and 262. I will second that. So if you roll call vote. So Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen,
Yes.
yes, and Melissa.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Do you want to talk about that later?
Whenever we want to do it on the agenda.
Why don't we get through the administrative and then we can put that under old business?
Yeah,
We do
sure.
have we have a public appointment. Okay, so first under minutes, we have approval of the public meeting minutes from July 28th, 2025.
Is a revised copy of that in your file or in your red folder? The non-public in and outs were not added. And it looks to me like I highlighted in yellow, a piece missing.
Yeah. I was gonna ask about that, yeah.
That was my only note, yeah.
Does anyone remember what Vicky was talking about? I wasn't at that meeting.
This could be wrong, but I think it was, oh, I forget her name, but she's part of the, Riverside Park Committee. And there was some mention of her wanting to know what the status was of an EDC proposed committee. Because she didn't know if she was gonna be part of the EDC one or not. That's a really,
I could think of her first
Imprecise.
name, but I
No, it's
can't think of
Michelle,
her.
right?
Michelle, but I can't.
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you, that's right. I think that might be right, but I'm not certain.
Hang on, I have it in my phone. Cedillo,
Yep.
Cedillo.
Yeah, that was the name, and I think that's what Vicky was saying, but that may not accurately capture her comments.
Would you like me to have the reporting secretary revisit that?
We could also just hold off on approving these minutes until Vicky's here to sort of
Yeah.
tell us if we're wrong or not.
Is there any problem with holding off on? All right, okay. So we can move on to the public meeting minutes from August 8th, which was our meeting on Friday with the fair.
Which we don't have. Not done yet.
Okay, oh, right, that's why they're marked. Okay, sorry. Okay, those are noted, they're not quite done. Okay, so now we've got three non-publics. There was a non-public from the 4th, but that's also not ready. So we have three non-publics from the 28th. Yes. I don't know if anyone wants to make a motion.
I will move to approve the non-public session minutes, session 1 from July 28th. And we'll note that these minutes were sealed.
Seconded.
Okay, it's a roll call. Jeff? Even I'll move to you.
Yes.
I'll abstain because I was not at the meeting. Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, so Jeff, if you.
I'm sorry, I'm
Okay, I'll go to you first for the next one. Steven, do you want to move the second?
Yeah, sure. I'll make a motion to approve the non-public session minutes from July 28th. This is the second session. And note that these minutes were not sealed.
All right.
Seconded.
Okay, Jeff,
Yes.
Steven?
Yes.
I'll abstain, and Melissa.
Yes.
Last one.
I'll move to approve the non-public session minutes from July 28th. This is the third session. And I'll note that these minutes were sealed.
Seconded.
Okay, Jeff,
Yes.
Steven?
Yes.
I'll abstain, and Melissa.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so we have a public appointment with Lynn Clark, the cemetery and the cemetery trustees, I believe. You wanna all come up or? If you can speak close to the mic, then we can pick you up on the recording.
Share around. We wanted to let you know what we've been doing in lieu of having a sexton.
Are we supposed to identify ourselves?
That would be helpful.
Yes, please.
Gail Kimball, 716 Kearsarge Avenue. Kelly Lewis, 129 Emerson Hill.
Lynn Clark, 862 Main Street, Kentucky. Since we were getting calls from people about how long the grass was getting in the Memorial Gardens, and that was something that the sexton took care of, and we hadn't had any people applying for the position, we just asked Ken Susi to to add that to his duties, and we filled out some forms with him. I believe that the total is less than $1,800 to add on for the next, it's like 6 months, but I think it's 6 months and 5 months and a half a month.
So essentially, we're here. There's a line item in the budget for the sexton, an employee line item of about $27,000. And then there's associated FICA and some other things. He didn't really, yeah. Anyway, we are not intending to replace the sexton at this point since the year is well underway and we're handling it as best we can. Lynn's doing some yeoman's work. So our question for us is, can we expend salary money on some contractual employees? Contractual wouldn't be in contractual employees, on some contract. Yeah. So the $1,800, give or take, that we spent on the memorial garden. Ken Susie's also willing to take down some brush if we need to do that. The fences are in a state of disrepair. We're not really quite sure where we are on that. Anyway, so the money's in the budget. It's just would be moving from one line item to the other. And I don't know if the town has a policy on that. So here we are, asking if that's a legitimate expenditure, if we can start spending some of our sexton money on contract workers.
We can,
Good.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we do have the ability to do that. I think, I don't know how, do you have any suggestions for how to sort of keep track of that? I know we, as the governing body, have the authority to move appropriations around, but we need to document it, obviously.
Or overspend.
Right, yeah.
My recommendation would be for them to spend from the line item that they're spending from. And let that go over and let the other one, offset it so that their bottom line is not exceeded.
Perfect.
That way you're tracking the expense, but staying within budget.
Good, thank you. Let me ask about the water. One thing that the sexton started doing, we used to, when I first started, we would contract with somebody to turn the water on and off. And in the fall, that means bleeding the lines, and it was thousands of dollars. So Joe had decided he could do that for cheaper and faster. He showed me how to turn the water on. I don't want to be responsible for bleeding the lines in the fall. So we're just, it doesn't take that long. We're wondering if just someone from the town could do that.
I don't know.
PW or?
I think they would probably want to look at it to understand.
Yeah.
I mean, I would if I were gonna.
Yeah.
It sounds simple,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
perhaps it's not.
Yeah, I think they probably are familiar with it, but
Okay,
yeah.
Can ask Dan his
Yeah.
thoughts?
I'll talk to Dan. Yep.
Okay.
I have a question about these open positions.
Yes.
If someone were interested, where would they go to learn more about the open positions?
Well, at the current time, the old job description is posted and we haven't redone a new job description that would have a more limited job description. So they could look at the one online, but it's not and we could leave that up, but it's not necessarily
I guess I'm
accurate.
wondering which online, because I'm on the cemetery, and this is not a you guys thing, this is an us
So,
thing. I'm on the cemetery trustees page on the website. And it doesn't mention anything about there being any open positions or a need to be filled or anything like that.
It's on the town website. Maybe it's there. We did, a couple people did find it. It was after we talked to Ken.
Cool. This is not on you guys.
Yeah.
This is, I'm just
It's
curious.
posted.
Well, you see, I can't answer the question. It's a good question.
That's all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, we got a couple of applications.
We did, so a couple people did find it. It was just like pretty immediately after I had asked Ken if he could take over the mowing.
There's under the how do I at the top,
Mhm.
there's a view job openings link. But when I go to it, it says you need to log in to view this page. So,
I will happily put into the record that this website causes violence in my soul. I'll come back to it later.
okay.
That's all. It's neither hurting for any of your requests right now, but it should be easier to find out.
You can't have any of our budget to fix it. If we get a vote.
Maybe that's why it took so long for somebody to find it and apply.
Actually, it's on the front page under Hopkinton News, job opening cemetery sexton on the homepage. So I hope that repaired your soul.
It didn't.
Okay,
So the parts of the job that I'm doing that Joe had been doing are basically sales and marking of the graves and where gravestones go. Talking to families. The trustees used to do some of that anyway before it was Bob Gerson, he was a trustee and he kind of made the sexton position more robust. And it stopped any sort of selling the same plot twice because of multiple trustees. But, so I knew that, and I had done it right when I first started. So I knew that the trustees had done that work anyway. So that wasn't really a big deal for me to go back and do that some more. I just can't do the physical part of it.
Thank you.
And this is our truck, and they're doing trash.
Yeah, and Kelly's picking up the trash.
wow. I mean, I think it's kind of up to you guys if you want to try to have the position filled, and if the description doesn't match what you're currently seeking, then, if you can revise it and narrow the scope. Then...
I think we should think about it for the next season, since this season's almost over.
Yeah.
I mean, the busiest time is like March and April.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, then I would suggest that when you guys think about what your budget request is going to be for 26, maybe roll this into your sort of internal conversations about what you might need. Yeah.
And so for next steps, it sounds like we're saying, yes, move the money from one line item to another. And that, or is there something further we have to do?
I would say don't move the money, don't move the appropriation, let them overspend where it actually should be spent from, so that you're not hiding what actually took place inadvertently.
As long as the bottom line doesn't go over, which it won't.
And then it sounds like Karen will connect with Dan and then
Yep,
get
on the
back to
water.
Lynn.
Yep, I'll touch it in.
And on the subject of Dan gets a big thank you, as his crew does, because our massive tree in the old Hopkinton Cemetery was on the waiting list to be taken down by Dearborn, old Yankee. But anyway, Dan did a yeoman's job from what I can tell. If anybody did anybody see it?
Dan didn't
Oh.
take it down.
Well, he cleared the road rather, yeah.
Oh,
So, yeah, he cleared Lilac Lane, but it was massive. So I don't know what was in Lilac Lane, but what was left was incredible. So thank you.
good to know. Thank you.
Shout out. And that's it, if you don't have any questions about the.
No, thank you for doing what you do.
Good.
Thanks, guys.
And I can sit here and talk to you about trust funds, or I can let somebody else have a seat and then come back up.
Let's see. Well, you're our only public appointment, so why don't well, actually, yeah, so then you don't have to sit through the whole rest of the meeting. If you wanna, we can move things around and we can move new business up and put you under new business or other. So that way you don't have to sit through our entire meeting.
Right.
to-
Thank you. So I'm Gail Kimball. I'm here as a trustee of the trust funds. So I have a letter in front of me from Discover Kentucky, requesting money from the Merle Dustin Trust. And in the past, that's gone directly to the select board because you folks do have the ability to request a voucher if you'd like to. However, since it came directly to us, we're planning on acting on it, but I thought you would like to know that. And I
What-
brought the letter with me because I understand that the select board in the past have thought that they actually have control of the money.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. My memory is that.
Yeah.
I've never seen this letter, actually. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But I don't understand how that's possible. So I'd like to get that clarified as well.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring.
I'll show it to you, Alyssa.
What's the name of the fund again?
It's called Merle Dustin, Dustin, and Merle is Nerle.
We talked about this like exactly a year ago.
Well, it does say that the select board for the town may request monies annually from the trustees to achieve the grantor's intent. So I think
Yes.
that's where
May,
our role comes from.
May,
Yeah,
permissive language, not mandatory language.
I don't read that as,
Would you like to read the first sentence?
I see the first sentence there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold, manage and invest is different than authorizing.
I don't
Sure,
think
so.
I don't think that's how you should be interpreting that.
What are we trying to figure out right now? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit lost.
Yes, you've never discussed this.
No.
I'm trying to find,
I think if we need, a legal opinion, we can get one, but I read that differently. And our past practice has been to authorize expenditures from that fund for these concerts,
Yes. Mhm.
which I understand you may disagree with, but that's
I
what we've done
Do
previously.
disagree with you. My plain language of that, I would say, as I said, the RSA is clear that the trustees can only pay out on a voucher. And I read that as that you can you can submit a voucher without having to go, you could request it on behalf of the chamber, for example.
And I guess my memory is that's kind of what we've done, is that the request has come to us and then we've
But
considered.
you wouldn't have
whether-
to wait for a request.
No, we don't. But we
Right.
don't know how much they want to pull out every year. So that's why we wait to see how much money they think they're going to need for the concerts.
Well, anyway, we're here, they've got a request, so if you'd like to discuss that, we can move forward.
Is this a private trust or how?
Much is the request for?
I don't know, how much is the current request for?
There's no current request.
Oh,
I mean, they never give a specific amount.
I'm trying to find, I remember we've talked about this each year. I'm trying to remember last year's discussion because we actually had a copy of the trust. And I can't find it right now.
Ooh, that would be good.
Remember, it was
the-
debated, Jeff and I debated.
Yeah.
Our concern was running the trust out of money.
Correct.
Yeah.
What
We
was that?
had limited.
So the long
amount.
and short of it is there's this fund that was generously donated. That's what you're seeing here. And every year a bit of money comes out to fund concerts for like the enjoyment of all.
Mhm.
And so I feel like last year we had a very like robust debate around what that amount should be. Because some of us felt that the whole point of the trust was to spend the money so that people could hear the music, and others felt that our duty was to whatever Jeff's language was, only spend the interest so that so the fund doesn't run out of money, essentially. I'm really oversimplifying, but that was pretty much the gist. So this is the first time I think I've ever seen this letter. And we've always sort of functioned as my memory is that we'd get sort of the request from the chamber, whomever, and then we would vote on whether or not to approve it. But we did have the actual trust language. See if I can find it.
How much has the trust? I don't know what the right word is, granted, in the past?
So 2 years ago, there was money given by the select board, recommended by the select board for a program at the rec center. I think it was about $600, and then there was money given to the chamber as well. So the chamber thinks they got $500 last year.
Oh, we have a policy. That's also.
Yeah.
Okay, the Merle Dustin Trust. The.
But a better answer, I think, is that it's actually on the back of the letter, is that. So it's a little, take the opportunity. So the trust throws out income and appreciation. The trustees can only expend income. They can't expend the appreciation. But there is accumulated income of, I think, the initial gift was 25,000 and the balance is currently 27, and most of that is accumulated income.
So we did adopt, oh, sorry.
And that can or cannot be spent. Sorry, that can or cannot be.
Income can be all of the income. Actually, this is not an income-only trust. The donor's intent was to allow the expenditure of both principal and income. Otherwise, they would have restricted it.
That is what it
So-
says.
So here's the policy that we adopted in 2024. And it has that language about the town trustees hold, manage, the select board may request, but then we have a whole procedure where it says, the following procedure shall be followed in order for the select board to request trust funds for a group. And then it goes into these details about the concert or written request. We have to review the requests and notify requesting groups of our decision of funding by June 25th. And then it says the funds will be distributed. And then it says the select board intends to spend no more than the interest and earnings in the fund from the prior year. We have to be mindful of the wishes of the donor, Merle Dustin, and the amount of the funds in the trust, including interest that's been generated and the longevity of the trust, if all or a portion of the principal is expended. That's pretty much it.
I think some of the things I'm struggling with as you say that out loud is that's not easily findable on the website. And so how would someone know how to follow a policy that exists only in the Google Drive of a select few?
Well, we haven't even settled that the select board has the power to enforce that policy.
Regardless, any policies, I'm mindful, like a policy is only as good as its awareness. And so enforcing policies which aren't available to the public, I'm like, and then on top of that, I struggle with the language around in the intent, or whatever it was because in the intent, they say right here, principal and interest. And so we are changing the intent when we say interest only.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cause I'm
We
like, wait a
debated
minute.
this. No, we debated
That's-
this at length. Actually, when we created the policy, I think.
Yeah, we did.
Well,
There was-
regardless, I
issue-
want to recognize this wasn't initially on the agenda for tonight and we're adding it in. And so at a minimum, can we discuss the ask at hand for the end of summer concert series? And can we schedule additional time to continue this conversation as needed?
Yes, but you were saying you haven't actually gotten a specific request, or you have?
Well, they send a letter and
Oh,
they
thank you.
detail all of their expenses to say,
Oh, okay, so this
You-
is from June.
yep, you awarded them $500 last year.
I see. So they sent this you to the.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, it only showed up in my mailbox a week or two ago, so I have no idea when it was actually mailed. It wasn't accompanied with a mailing letter, so I don't know if it sat here because nobody knew what to do with it, or whether it sat someplace else, which is irrelevant.
Have you seen that? Like, do you know if it came, because it's addressed to the Merle Dustin Trust?
I can tell you it was drafted by Leanne Vance and that many weeks ago, I saw an initial draft of it when she let me know she was going to send it. And this was a while ago.
The letter's dated June 22, so it's been sitting there, so.
Yeah.
I do not recall seeing this.
And that's before Karen's time too, so. So I guess I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So is your position that the select board, by the terms of like the original letter, we can make a request?
Absolutely,
Somebody could come to us and we could request on their behalf.
absolutely.
That the trustees of the trust fund control whether or not it's granted or what the amount is or what that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like all the trust funds. I don't understand why it would be not that way.
I guess my,
Manage and hold.
Right.
Yeah.
but
No,
that-
I didn't-
I didn't
It's
interrupt.
it's permissive language. It doesn't say shall, it says may.
Because it's up to the select board to make the determination whether or not funds are going to be taken out of that trust to pay for these concerts.
Because it's permissive language. That whole language is permissive. It's not exclusionary of anybody else.
Where's the language where the trust was set up?
It's quoted in the letter that she sent.
Yes.
Usually there are agents to expend named.
Right.
Trustees are named.
Not as agents to expend, but to hold, manage, and invest, which is different.
How is it different? You're gonna have to tutor me on that.
So the way I interpret it is that hold, manage, and invest means that you take the money and you prudently invest it so that the principal earns as much income over time as it reasonably can. But the actual spending of the money from the trust is a select board decision, not a trustee.
I just don't see that language in the letter, Steve.
It says it at the last sentence.
It says it may, not shall.
Meaning
You may, not shall.
this board has the discretion.
May.
Meaning this board has the discretion of whether or not to spend from the trust fund or not. Not the
Oh,
trustee of the trust
I
funds, this,
really don't like your reading.
that's been the historical interpretation.
Since 2017?
Yeah,
Well, it's not my interpretation, and I was elected 2 years ago, so.
Well, it's interesting because
The RSA, I don't think goes that way, but
so it does say the grantor intends any cost or expense associated with providing summer band concerts is acceptable. And that's sort of what got to the heart of our debate, I think, is like debating what we find to be acceptable, but in your position would be you as the trustee of the trust funds gets to decide what is or is not acceptable in terms of what to spend.
yeah.
can you make a copy? Can you make some copies of that letter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the job of the trustees anyway, is to question, to match up the requests against the donor's intent. And if we disagreed with it, we'd go back and say, geez, I don't see that this falls within the donor intent.
I think if that last sentence saying may about the select board was not in there, I think I'd agree with you. But that sentence is in there. And to me, it means that they've designated the select board as the agents to expend from this trust.
No, it doesn't say that, Steve, on its plain face. So the RSA, which I don't have the number of, is clear that a voucher is required.
Correct.
So it's letting you can create a voucher. That's all it's saying.
But we get to decide when it's appropriate to create a voucher from this fund and request payment from this fund.
Geez, I just don't see that.
Is there any other funds
No.
in any other town? Like, is this like a unicorn out in the wild, or is this like an actual common practice that happens?
I don't know that the RSA even allows this. Can the town, is this an end run of the law that doesn't let the town hold and manage?
No, because the trustees are investing and managing the fund.
Well,
An end round around.
definitely an end run, if that's your interpretation,
Okay.
Steve.
I disagree, but that's okay. That's okay.
So just for a little bit of history, this discussion began during COVID, when the chamber, or what it was at that time, which I don't recall, held the summer concert series, and then in December, after the series, requested full payment from the select board for a concert series that had already happened 6 months prior, 4 months prior.
Right, but then that brought us to, you still there, Jeff?
I am.
Oh, okay. But then I think it was as recent as last year that we got into a debate on this board about what was appropriate to spend or not spend.
We did.
Yeah. And I was in the minority. I thought more should be spent. So I don't know where, I mean, it's an odd situation because this just in my memory always just sort of was, and I don't recall, I think the policy that we adopted apparently adopted in July of 2023 to be effective January 1, 2024. I don't remember if that must have just been a new policy. It doesn't look like it's updating an old policy on this. So I would have to dig back through my own notes to jog my memory as to like why we created that policy. But I've never heard this interesting debate around who actually.
Yeah, I don't know who the select board was in 2017 when this was accepted.
Was.
I was not a trustee.
I didn't.
It was me and Jim O'Brien and Steve Lux and Bob Gorsony and Ken Trom. So I'm the only one.
I mean, we can certainly have a legal opinion as to who makes the decision of how to expend from this fund.
The Department of Revenue also might weigh in.
Yeah.
Because I believe this is reported on your MS9.
Well, this is, so wait, how do
No, Stephen, the first sentence says the town trustee shall hold, manage, and, oh, I see how you're saying distribute based on your recommendation. Anyway, so I understand what you're saying about that first sentence. I just would,
But it does say in the sole discretion of said trustees.
yeah, I don't know why
So you say
a
the
lawyer would.
discretion is just for the holding, managing, and investing?
That's how I read it. That's how historically we've treated it. I don't think we've ever squarely answered this particular question.
I don't think you've ever had a lawyer as a trustee of the trust fund either.
I mean, like I said, I'm happy to have legal weigh in on this, so that we can get an answer. Yeah.
Go for it.
I think an outside person taking a peek and giving their opinion's not the right word, but giving their reading would be the best path forward, as long as it does not hold up any approval or disbursement of funds, of which we're not actually debating that part. We're just debating
Except-
who's.
Well,
They're in limbo right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should make a decision. I would encourage a decision to be made.
I think we do need to know that, who can make the call, because I think because of the policy we enacted recently, we may have a different view over how much to spend from the fund than the trustees do. So I think it is important to try to get an answer fairly soon.
In the meantime, there is an income accumulated of $423.77, 423.77.
And what are the detailed expenses on the letter from?
It's 5 concerts that total $5,100.
For what it's worth, the end of summer concert series is a well-attended, very much enjoyed and loved event that is shouldered and paid for by the local businesses. And so the fact that there is $27,000 sitting in an account somewhere, of which the original donation was 25,000, and we're saying that we're cool with our small businesses who are getting hit with tariffs and other issues at this exact moment, shouldering that cost on behalf of our town. That just makes me sad.
Well, I think our concern was that if we say yes to this and it's similar requests over a 5 or 6 year period, the entire fund will be exhausted.
And my point was that was the whole point of the trust, was to fund the concerts
Yeah.
as needed.
This is the debate that
This
we
is the
had
debate.
when we.
Yes.
So I don't know, so do you have the ability to make a binding policy year after year on future boards? That's unusual, but I will tell you that currently the market value of this fund is $27,591.82, so you certainly have the ability to expend more than the $423, unless a policy voted by a prior board is binding on you. Which
Technically, things that previous boards have done. Otherwise, you would have every.
nightmare.
We could vote to.
And we could always
change
rescind a
it.
policy.
It's a policy we made up, and it's a policy we could change. But I do think what we should do is perhaps we could let Leanne know that we're working on this, just so they're not like, what's happening? And then try to get a quick answer from council as to whether or not we have the authority to dictate what is or is not spent from the trust that the trustees hold. And then if, obviously, if they say like, no, you've overstepped your bounds, you're in a different position, but if they're like, yeah, you could do this, then I think we actually have to have a debate, and I would like for Vicky to be part of it too, as to
Yeah.
whether or not it's appropriate.
Yes, but let's be clear, you do have the ability to request the expenditure funds. The question is whether it's an exclusive right.
Well, and my point is, I think, I'm thinking about it from the perspective of, like, I think the board's current position is that we control, that we could say, no, you cannot spend this, and your position is that we cannot say that, right? That you control.
If we made the request, are you obligated to grant it?
Oh, what a good question. What a good question.
Your position would be that you get to manage it, so you could say no.
That's what
My
I'm.
point is, if they're requesting $5,000 and we're like, no, we're not granting it. My understanding is that you're saying the trustees should be allowed to override us and say, we manage the money, it's our decision. Yes, we're granting.
I know, I really wasn't going there. I was just going to the, let's clarify what the terms of this are. I mean, I believe that the town band could come directly to the trustees, or that the chamber can come directly to the trustees, and the trustees look at this in terms of the available funds and what's always been done.
But so that's what I'm trying to understand, is maybe I'm misstating it. I thought you were saying that you as the trustees should be allowed to say yes or no to this, not.
Yes,
Right, that's.
but I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying it's not exclusive.
Gotcha. Okay. So. The
I look
first
forward to the
band is
debate.
supposed to be playing today.
And since I'm here asking you about it, maybe it's,
The contract's already been signed. If you look at the other pages of the letter.
I think the dates may have evolved since that, or they were off by a couple days, because the end of summer concert series is always on Thursdays, and so the first one is this Thursday.
Oh.
and they just published 5 concerts, or there are 5 concerts listed there. So I'm sure somebody's offered to pick it up, but that doesn't,
Oh, no, Leanne.
Make it right.
Pocket.
yeah.
Like, and that's the thing, is someday businesses come and go. And are we willing to say we have to hold on to this money to make sure it stays in this trust forever, knowing full well that these types of huge expenditures are a lot for our small businesses to bear? And they may someday decide just not to do it anymore, and there goes a town thing, right? And I'm not saying we pay for the whole thing, but I am saying we should be, with the funds available, heavily supplementing this out-of-pocket cost. That's all.
Okay, so we've got some things to query and try to answer. And in the meantime, the concerts are probably gonna go on, so. Thank you for bringing this forward.
Thank you for your time and attention.
Can we make a copy of this letter before you leave? Because this is the one that you handed us.
Yeah,
This is-
of course you may. I'm trying to decide whether I even need a copy.
You should keep a copy.
Yeah,
I should keep a copy.
You should.
I
I
just,
think I've got the front page. Yes,
is
please.
that okay?
Yeah, you want me to do it? So
You should definitely.
It's interesting, I don't remember, like, I don't think we've even seen that letter.
I think we did. I think we did.
it sounds like you did.
No, I mean, the letter from Leanne.
Oh, we definitely haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, the letter from Leanne, no, like
The King to discover, or
it showed up in my box here a couple of weeks ago.
That one, Leanne was going back through, because she handles so many things. That woman is juggling so much, the town behind the scenes. I'm sure she just went, who sent me the check? Cool, I'm gonna send them the letter next.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the fastest, easiest way.
Probably always comes here and just ends up in your pile instead of our pile, but there was no Neil to, did the fork in the road.
No, I'm just saying this clearly got sort of lost in the shuffle when we were between town administrators, and so, yeah, so no knock on Leanne. She obviously sent it in.
Yeah.
Just we haven't seen it yet.
She'll forgive us all.
So, okay, thank you.
Oh, you're so
welcome.
thank you.
I'll be
Good questions.
Thank you.
Okay. Now we'll move on to our old business. So first is approving the personnel manual clarification.
Manual or policy, it could be either.
Policy, I think.
Were there any changes to this since the last time? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Get it.
Does everyone feel clear on what we mean by 5th anniversary and 10th anniversary?
I did have a question on the letter, but let's deal with the policy first.
All right, anyone have comments?
Just because Vicky is not here, I feel like I remember Vicky saying something about you are expected to take your vacation during the year in which it is earned sentence. And how it felt a little bit contradictory to the following sentences about accrual and rollover and all of that. I think I think she was like, these are two like polar opposite things happening like right next to each other. Like, you are expected to do this. Also, here's how you can roll things over.
So I think we talked about just making this policy adjustment so that we can make a correction. There is another policy review coming forth.
That's right.
Awesome. I can
Yeah,
wait for that. then.
Beverly's been working really hard on that, so, yeah.
Thank you, Beverly. Otherwise, no, I have no other questions. Thank you.
I can make a motion if people are ready, but I don't want to rush anyone.
Ooh, what snacks do you have? I brought lots of snacks tonight. Oh, you have a granola.
Probably granola bar.
Okay, so do someone want to make a motion that we adopt the changed personnel manual clarification?
I move that we will adopt this clarification to the accrual of vacation and sick leave as presented to us tonight.
Seconded.
Okay, and it's a roll call vote. Stephen?
Yes.
I mean, yes, Melissa?
Yes.
And Jeff?
Yes, yes.
Hi, thank you.
Can I bring up the letter now?
Yeah.
So we have a draft letter that would go out to the employees as a result of the change that we just voted on. And my question was the sentence that says the adjustments will be reflected in the paycheck you receive. And my understanding was that this was going to be credits. And so that's what I just was asking about that.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
Yeah.
It would be, the tallies would be corrected on the check stub.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
where I was going with that.
Got it.
Um,
And I don't know if there's a way to sort of clarify that, but that was my question is it's not.
On the stub.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like Jeff was gonna hop in. Jeff, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't think it was intended to write them a check or give them extra compensation. It was to credit the hours to their
Okay.
bank.
All right, you good with that?
Mhm.
Hello? Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, next we have discussed logistics for Townie Night from Fair. So I think, and Stephen, just so you know, one thing that we left sort of open was the Townie Night gate.
Mhm.
And I was recalling that one year there was recently there was sort of confusion when we tried to do more than one gate, but then I think last year we just did the blue gate because that's handicap accessible.
Mhm.
But then the fair people told us on Friday that they felt that townspeople go in particular to the red gate, thinking it's an option for Townie Night, and then became surly when they were told it was not an option. So we sort of left it open as to whether or not we should do two gates and try to divide and conquer. I don't know who among us will be there that Thursday evening. It's 5 to 7. I sort of landed on, I think it's just simpler and easier just to do the blue gate And if there's truly a problem with people being rude and obnoxious, then fair people can contact us or the police. If it's getting really out of hand.
I agree with that. I remember the last time we tried two gates and it created a host of other issues, and I don't want to repeat that. It feels like more of a communication issue that needs to be corrected than anything else. And so I appreciate their concerns, but I would prefer to stick with the blue gate being the single gate for
Yeah.
getting those wristbands.
I couldn't remember exactly why it was so chaotic. I just remember that it was, and it was like kind of a nightmare.
It was, yeah. Well, it just required twice as many people to staff it
Yeah.
because there were two locations. We had to split up the wristbands
Unit,
and
one
every
unit,
now,
yeah.
and it was scrambling for more, and there were two locations. It was,
Do people, Alyssa, Jeff, have thoughts on the gates?
Let Jeff go first.
I actually talked to my wife and she would help at the red gate if the select board decided to do the red gate.
what was that, Jeff? Can you say it again?
Sure, I spoke with my wife, the clear voice of all things.
Mhm.
And she said that she'd be happy to work the gate with me if I was at the red gate. If the select board decided to do that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's nice.
That's really sweet.
I mean,
Um,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Alyssa.
One thing that the fair had shared with us at the meeting was that it felt like they were a bit on their own navigating anyone who wasn't pleased with our gate selection. And so something that came up was on Townie night, if we remembered correctly, it was our officers who were posted around at the gates. And a request we were going to make to Chief Hennessy is if it was appropriate for the folks who are on our force, who know our community, to just help direct people to the right gates. And I don't mean in a like law enforcement manner, but I mean in a community helping community manner. In a, like, if they have questions and they're talking to the lovely teenagers working the ticket booth, the teenagers know that they can say, hey, one of your community police officers can answer that question for you. Again, not in a law enforcement manner, in a public helping community resource manner, whatever gates we decide to have open, right? And so that's something I'd love to follow up with Chief Hennessy about. Obviously, if there's any kind of police work that's happening that takes priority over customer relations, but outside of that, it would be, I think, a lovely way to help point folks in the right direction.
I still think that even if we do two gates, I just recall it being really problematic how to divvy up wristbands between the two, and if one is running low. I mean, maybe it was really compounded by not having enough wristbands to start with. And so even if we had one gate that one year, it would have still been a bit of a mess. But it just seems simpler to say, this is the gate you come to, you know, if you want your Townie wristband, it's the blue gate.
Yeah.
You know,
I think we should do that. Simple, clear
Yeah.
communication.
I will say that the fair people were fairly aggravated by that last year.
was there a specific sort of example given for what occurred?
No.
Okay,
It was sort of general reference to having issues, but
okay.
there were no actual examples given.
I mean, we can pass that on to Chief Hennessy, I suppose, but without more
Yeah.
information, it's hard for me to.
We also said, you know, if someone's actually being a problem, then yeah, direct them to us. You can have my phone number and call me if they're
Yeah.
really mad. So yeah, I think it was sort of like it was a general comment. But they did say it's up to us what we want to do in terms of so I feel like last year we just did blue, so for consistency, it's the handicap accessible gate. Which is why we changed it from green.
I wonder, and this didn't come up in the meeting, but I wonder if we're choosing to do one gate, if the fair would be amendable to us making small posters to put at the other gates that night only, that say like Hopkinton Town Resident Entrance Blue Gate hung up at the other gates.
Mhm.
We can do something up 8.5 by 11 and it just needs to survive for 2 hours and then it's done.
Yeah.
On top of that, once we do decide, we should get the website updated. We should post it on Facebook. We should start blasting it out. Yeah. Which I was very excited at Jeff's suggestion. The fair also talks about how it was really hard, sorry, tangent, to hire. And Jeff had made the suggestion to them that they get their employment opportunities into the Hopkinton News. And I saw it go out the other day and that was super great. So.
Okay. So, Woodgate, I think.
How do we determine who's taking what shifts and what we're doing and all that? Is that just like an email chain or something? I know we can't have an email chain legally, but what do we do?
I mean, sorry. go.
5 to 7.
It's 5 to 7. And I think in years past, we've tried to divide it up a little bit based on people's schedules. And I feel like Neil would get there at like 4:30 so there was like a little tent and a table and stuff to set up. So,
I have a work conflict, and so we'll probably miss the entire town night, unfortunately.
It's interesting.
well, I'm glad we went with one gate then.
Yep, one game.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure I can be there the whole time if needed. Karen, are you planning on
I can be there.
being there? Okay. You get to see a lot of people from town.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Um,
it's fun.
I already see a lot of people from town. No, I can also be there. My preference is not the full 2 hours, but I can
Yeah.
do the full 2 hours if needed.
and then I think Vicky's planning on being there. It sounds like Jeff can also be there.
Yes.
All right, would you prefer an earlier shift or a later?
That's a great question.
We
I
can
have no
also,
sense.
we can also, communicate logistics. Oh, wait, do we have another? Yeah, we have one more meeting before.
Do we?
Yeah. That Monday.
Just before.
Mhm.
Woo, okay, yeah, we can
Hammer it out then.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Ready for new business? We have boards and committees discussion.
Yeah, for the consent agenda item that we moved down to new business, was that at the
Oh.
bottom of the list or the top of the list?
Let's put it at the top.
To get the consent agenda finished?
Yeah.
So is this where sort of I swing come in here? So my question on this is that the assessor for both of these lots made a comment about the adjustment for a particular lot needing to consider the other lot as well. And I don't know if the assessor already took that into consideration, and that's my question.
Well, the two things are the two abutting lots, right?
But it's the same owner, and when you are evaluating an abatement and somebody owns more than one lot, you consider all their property together.
Mm-hmm.
And so if one is deserving of an abatement, but the other one is underassessed, then they would potentially wash each other out and we wouldn't give any money back. And so that's what I'm asking is I don't think we should be making that determination. I think the assessor should be saying, for this lot, if the owner only owned this lot, I would say give them an abatement of $10, just to use round numbers. But because the owner also owns this other lot and we didn't assess it enough, that $10, we're going to take that $10 back. And so they don't get any money.
Yeah, the way that I had read it, and maybe we're saying the same thing, the way that I had read it is these two both belong to the same person.
Mhm.
One of them overassessed, one of them underassessed. The one that's overassessed, right? They're getting a refund of $2,500 theoretically, and the underassessed, they owe us $500. And so are you saying that normally those things have been combined together and just said, we just owe them 2,000?
Yes.
So he sent us,
And so the application references both, but the assessor's decision only references one. So I.
Yeah, he
I
broke
think-
his decision, Jeff, he broke his decision into two decisions referencing each of the lots individually.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
There's
sorry, I
one.
see it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, no, at first I had to reread it several times before I was like, wait, what?
and I think he did that for clarification purposes.
Yeah, but I mean, he's saying that for 262-1, we under-assessed, and it should be a higher assessment.
Right.
But what I'm asking is, arguably that could wipe out the assessment that is recommended for lot 261-1, where we
Well-
over-assessed.
But we overassessed by 80 grand, or 90. We underassessed by.
Yeah,
Jeff, you're broken up.
the amounts don't actually cancel each other out.
I know, and maybe that's the answer, but I didn't know if the assessor took that into consideration when the payment was generated.
The payment was generated in our office.
Okay, did we take into consideration both lots?
You're seeing two separate payments, let's say. One is the negative, one is the positive. We also produced a third sheet which had them totaled,
Okay,
which I specifically did not want included to create confusion. We got there anyway. So, yeah, we just reflected what he gave us, and I think he gave us the two different ones, because he's got to go in and change the two different assessment.
right.
So,
But I see 3 disposition forms here.
and then the third one, the 1,800 is.
Is that the,
Map and box up in the top right-hand.
oh, so that's the net.
That's the net.
Okay,
So-
okay.
As that was in there.
All right, that probably answers my question then, because that probably means that the 478 was
Subtract.
subtracted from the 2,300, which would get you. Okay.
Yep.
That answers my question. So, yeah, so I'm fine with granting this abatement per the recommendation, understanding that the net payment to the property owner reflects both parcels, and it's a refund of, approximately $1,800, which is page 9 of the packet for us.
Okay, do we need to separately vote since we took it off the consent agenda?
We probably should.
All right.
So unless anybody has any other, okay. So I'll make a motion to accept the assessor's recommendation to abate, and considering both parcels together, that equates to an abatement refund of approximately $1,800.
Seconded.
Okay, Stephen?
Yes.
Yes. Melissa?
Yes.
And Jeff?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for humoring me.
Yes, no, it's good clarification. All right, so why don't we do the updated animal control officer job description?
This is a vacant position or a new position?
It's
Newly vacant.
recently, yeah.
Newly vacant. Okay.
So this is the new version that I've given you. The old version and I misspoke earlier, Sabrina. The old version had the individual reporting to the chief of police. And it had them patrolling on foot. It had them preparing court complaints and a monthly report of activities. Those three things have been removed. If you want to pass this down. Everything else is the same.
And how many hours do we budget?
It's a $500 a month stipend.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now instead of reporting to the chief, they report to the sergeant. And then those two things.
What's interesting is I've come in my digging through the computer in the other office. I've come across a couple of different organizational charts which show it reporting to the sergeant. So,
Okay.
Is there a particular reason that the terms are going to be set forth in a contractual agreement? That seems,
that was in the language before. I don't know if there was a contract or not.
I would like to take that out.
Okay.
At some point, weeks ago, maybe months ago at this point, I feel like we had briefly discussed asking the current, now former animal control officer to come on and to tell us a little bit more about the role. And that had fallen by the wayside and they've since stepped down. And so I'm just circling back to say, do we still want to follow up with that, even though they are no longer in the position?
I don't know the circumstances of their departure to know if we would get honest feedback or not. So I don't know. Do we know? Were the circumstances such that we can expect
Was the letter attached?
good feedback?
No, I don't know. It was in there. It was in the other one, I think. I thought there were two
It's
pages.
just,
It's
The-
just-
The 2 pages in the online packet is just the job description.
The resignation letter was-
Oh,
Yeah. it was the-
yeah.
Melissa, did you want to see this? Do we have an urgent need to have this position filled?
I don't think so. I think the police chief has somebody in mind.
Okay. But we don't have a backlog of animal control complaints. Yeah, okay.
Honestly, until it came up a couple weeks ago, I did not realize we had the animal control position because I have animal control issues,
Yeah,
but I have not called them in yet, so.
yeah.
I'm sorry to laugh.
It's the raccoons.
Nesting chickens,
They
yeah.
act like my chicken coop is like Club Raccoon and they just hang out on top and you cannot get rid of them. Like they are fearless.
So do we want to adopt this with the removal of taking out the terms are set forth in a contract?
I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll move that we adopt this with that edit from Stephen, taking out just that last sentence under the summary.
Seconded.
Okay, Stephen?
Yes.
Yes. Alyssa?
Yes.
And Jeff.
Yes.
Okay. Now on to the boards and committees discussion.
Yeah, so as I've hinted at, I've noticed that our accessibility to the information about committees and how they function and how to be involved in them is a little bit hard to ascertain from our current website. And so just the first step, like a baby step, not even like a big thing, is to think about, what is our membership policy for our committees? Mostly because we do have folks asking to join, and if we want to do an education push, encouraging people to get involved in town government, whether through elected or appointed positions, then having a membership policy so folks know what to expect is incredibly important. So this is really basic, covering what are the RSAs behind. And if they are misquoted, please let me know. Eligibility, appointment terms and training. Now, here's the thing. There is not a lot of hard and fast rules out there. A lot of it is up to the discretion of the town. And so I'm mindful in saying that it's not as if there is a specific RSA or law we can point at. It's more about what is right for the size of our town and what we're trying to accomplish, but also what is reasonable with the size of our town and what we're trying to accomplish. Too many conflict of interest restrictions, and suddenly there's no one on any committees, right? Because we are such a small town.
Right.
But if we don't have anything, that's also so. Jeff, do you have a copy of this as well from where you are?
Yes.
Fantastic. I will stop talking about it, and I'd love to hear from you guys. What, as you're looking at this, feels directionally like something that would be helpful versus what feels opposite to what you'd want to be true about committee policy?
I think it's helpful, especially because currently I'm not aware of any written policies or procedures around this. So would your ultimate vision be that this would be something that was like easy to find on the town website? So if somebody's like, I'm interested in joining. a
Oh, if
committee-
you want to know my vision, yes. So my vision is that rather than going to the top and seeing that huge drop down under town government, it sends you to maybe like the 3 or 4 most important places, one of which is an overview of town governance, right? Or an overview of committees. On that page, it would have a brief overview of all of the committees and why you might go to them, with the links from there to the actual committee pages. This would be at the top of that, along with the application, which is currently buried under town administrator. It's a sublink on the town administrator under forms. And so even if you want to get involved, finding the form to submit, and we're going to get to the actual form at a later meeting because I have some proposed edits for the form as well, building off of what it already has. There's more information we should be gathering around conflict of interest that would be helpful. So this to me shouldn't be multiple pages. It shouldn't be onerous to read or look at. It should give you a quick sense, like, do I live in the town? Am I over 18? You know, am I in good standing with the town? And that is purposely vague because there's a number of reasons you might not be, but if there's an appointed position and you're actively in a lawsuit with the town, hypothetically, that might not be the best time to join. Maybe it is though, I don't know. Yeah, so that is my vision, is that wherever we land, it stays sharp, it stays short, and it stays readily available on the same page where you can understand what are the committees. And then further down, I imagine archived committees, so showing what committees have previously existed but no longer exist, including what their charge was and why they disbanded. And it might just be they fulfilled their mission versus something pivoted or what have you. And the Excel spreadsheet you did not get today is the very large one with all, it's like, including the subcommittees, I think it has 31 rows that is spanning right now. What are the charges and RSA? Like, what's the RSAs behind them? What are the charges? What's the current roster, appointed, elected, blah, 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 which will be for a future meeting when we dig into and digging in to find out like when was the last meeting, at least according to the websites, because as you know, some of these have not met, but I'm getting off of my tangent. What about this feels like directionally a policy we could stand behind, and what feels like, that's not what our town is going for? Like maybe someone doesn't need to be 18 years or older, right? Maybe that's only certain committees.
So I know that we had a high school representative on the waste reduction committee for a while.
Yep. And the question is it that you need to be 18 or older in order to be a voting member or an appointed member? Or are there certain committees where there's an age restriction for certain reasons? Or is age just a number and we're really kind of chill with as long as you meet the requirements and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna have an asterisk that like links you to, because I imagine the same rules that apply towards youth labor law might kind of dovetail into things about like how much time you can give to a committee. But yeah, Gail Stone, who was on the waste reduction committee, I thought was one of the like, they brought so much to the committee meetings.
What would be the next step in this process?
So one, getting your edits, right? The other is I like to shop it around to the committee chairs. So once the select board is like directionally, I feel okay with my name being near this, I would shop it around to the committee chairs to say like, hey, we want to be able to promote your committees.
Yeah.
We want to be able to ask people to join town governance. If this was out there, how would you feel about that? Like, would you be like, yes, this is what I'm looking for? Or do you feel like it would hamper in some way getting folks to join your committee?
Okay.
And it's not to say that the committee chairs would have final say, but it would give us in the field feedback that we bring back here. But I don't want to send something around to all of them that y'all have not seen and felt good about.
So we would need to land on the spouses and family members.
Yeah,
Yep.
I was thinking maybe option A and B
yeah.
combined. Allow with guardrails and prohibited on quasi judicial boards.
I think my initial reaction is that I don't think we need to have the legal framework in there. Because I think that, I don't know, I just don't think that's maybe what people are reading the document to find
I
out.
imagine that in a later draft, it'd be in the notes at the bottom.
Yeah,
It
sure.
would be at the top.
Yeah,
So thank you. I agree with you. I don't think that's the first thing people should read. This draft is not the formatting I would necessarily.
no, I know, and yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and I think that the other comment is if we are going to have a policy of requiring trainings, I mean, that's something that we may have to pay for. And so there's a budgetary consideration there.
Need to be follow-up to make sure that people complete the training. if they make
Right.
it required.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing is yes, we function just fine, but do we think we'd function better if these trainings were in place?
For some boards, probably yes. For other boards, maybe only marginally so.
And so it could be something where we define, like there's an asterisk that's like, it's for these boards that you need X, Y, Z.
I mean, just for example, like a land use board, I would say absolutely.
Mhm.
Just because there's quasi judicial and we just want those decisions to be pretty sound. But if it's, a committee that is created by the select board, maybe the only training they need is 91A. And
Yeah.
that's really it.
Yeah. What I love is the New Hampshire Municipal Association does have a rolling thing
Yeah.
and they give out, I've been registering for all of them, which I can't go because I set up the packets afterwards.
Yeah.
And so there's nothing to say that we can't pull a couple things. I know y'all had talked about in a previous iteration, having a stronger onboarding for select board members. And I think I also see this as a gateway towards having a very small packet for committee members to be like, welcome, you're joining a committee. Regardless of the committee you're on, here are some things you should know about town governance, right?
Yeah.
And we can pull from the New Hampshire Municipal Association without needing to send people off. I don't imagine asking someone to give up an afternoon,
Right.
but I'm okay asking them to read 3 pages and then like click, yes, I did this on a Google form, just so that they're not walking in blind.
Don't we have a conflict of interest policy? I just can't find it online.
I couldn't find it online either.
Okay, but we have one.
It's my new favorite catchphrase.
Is it in the personnel policy?
Seeing it. Do we have town policies on the website?
We do. It's under it's in the select board. And I've pulled up the page and I don't see it there.
Yeah, but there's even things like when committees do volunteer day activities, volunteers should be signing a waiver to make sure that we are not liable either for their behavior or for their accidents. And New Hampshire Municipal Association provides a template for that.
Yeah.
And that should be like, if someone becomes a chair, that should be in their little packet. That's like, hey, before you wander out into the world and do stuff, like make sure the town isn't liable. And those things should be collected and then left here at town hall to have on record to keep us safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I promise, yes, down front, yes. Hi, yes, yes.
Add something since you're talking about committees and coming up with policies and all of
Here
that.
here you go. Do you mind coming to the mic? That way we just get you recorded. Thank you.
Hello. So just while you guys are talking about committees and policies and trying to get, I don't want to say organization, but trying to like work all of your adding things to committees, just something to keep in mind when you're coming up with all of this stuff, if you can work into this somewhere. Having some way of holding people accountable for coming in and taking their oath.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I say that because we have a lot of committees that we're waiting for people to come in to take their oath.
Mhm.
And it is a really difficult thing to make sure is happening. And I know we're not the only town, because I've talked to other town clerks that
Yeah.
it is an ongoing struggle.
Yeah.
And last year, I tried to attend a few meetings that I knew I needed to get oaths from. And unfortunately, the people I needed the oath from wasn't at that meeting. So
Thank you for trying.
it's just, well, and I'm not saying it for that, but
Yeah.
more just since you're talking about committees anyway, and you're talking about expanding them and all of that fun stuff, something to keep in mind when you're thinking about all of this is how we can make sure that people are coming in to take their oath.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a great point, and I would say they shouldn't be participating on the board until the oath has been administered.
And that's part of us onboarding chairs.
Yeah. Well, not just chairs, I mean, the individual members.
Oh, 100%, but like the buck stops with the chair of the committee. The chair of the committee is the person who gets to say like, hey, actually, I
Okay.
can't have you participate. You
Right.
haven't taken your oath
Taking
yet.
the oath, Yep.
yeah, because right now,
It should be part of the like whatever it is that we're like, hey, sign your conflict of interest, take your oath, give a brief read of this right to know, blah, blah, blah. And then for the chairs, it's things like, hey, don't do volunteer things without waivers. Don't have people participate if they haven't finished their oath. It's just like some housekeeping stuff that needs to be simple. It needs to be upfront. And we need to systematize it so that it isn't a lot of work on everyone, that it can just kind of roll out each March without it being a big undertaking.
Yeah.
Which is why we're talking about it now in August.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Okay. So what I would love to do is I'd love to make a couple edits to this about training and things like that. I still want to keep it vague with different options and shop it around to committee chairs. And say like, yes, this is not set in stone. You're going to see that it kind of forks. What speaks to you and like what your committee needs to be true. Like, and I don't just mean like, what do you prefer? I mean, like, if we went this direction, would that like hurt or help your committee?
I think this is a great idea, and I thank you for spearheading this. I think it would be really helpful to have a policy that we've thought about and adopted to address some of these questions. So, yeah, I like this idea.
Me too. Thank you. I think this is a very good place to start.
Yeah. I would,
Can't wait to show you guys the spreadsheet.
Karen just showed me that our personnel policy does have a conflict of interest section in it. I feel like we have a separate one, but maybe that's just where it is.
Yeah,
But if you're looking for what we may already have,
Is it on the website?
did you find it on the website?
The personnel policy, yeah.
Okay,
It's
cool.
At the very bottom, and it's on page 44 in the personnel policy.
Page 44. Okay, if you wouldn't mind, I don't know like how far I'll get since it is summer, but my goal is to send this around starting tomorrow And I'd love to get back on the agenda for the next one, just so that you guys know what reactions I'm getting.
Sure.
To keep it moving, because my hope is if we keep moving at this pace, we will be well prepared before the next appointment season.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also so that we can start publicizing the fact that like the housing committee has an open role right now, right? Like there are committees with open roles.
Mhm.
And I'd like to get them filled, but I'd like to get them filled thoughtfully, not just filled.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Yeah.
All right, that brings us to town administrator updates.
My updates. So I did include in your packet some information from Novus on what it's gonna cost to have them just evaluate what's going on up there with the cap and now there are 3 cracks in it. They want to do a test dig, which I'm told is like digging alongside the crack to see, to figure out what happened. I guess they're all ready to go and we're waiting on DES. So,
And is it that DES has to, so sorry, I had a question about funding for it. Because at a previous meeting, we talked about like, is this covered by anything? Is this not covered? Is this on us?
explored that yet because we don't have a cause.
That's fair.
So
We don't know if it's us yet.
we don't know if it's us or if it's somebody else or if it's just, random act of nature
Yeah, and it looked like it was about $7,000 to get to a cause,
to explore.
to
Yeah.
explore the potential of there may being a cause.
And then comes the repair. Whatever that
Mhm.
might be. And whoever might be responsible for that.
I mean, this feels like pretty necessary work. Do we have some wiggle room in the budget to float this?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
But this would fall under, not the new bond, but something. Maintenance, I'm
Yeah.
not sure how this was, but was budgeted for. I can look. But I would imagine that we have
You can find it someplace.
funding somewhere.
Yeah.
In one of the funds, there's,
Yeah.
all right, I'll find a funding source.
Do you need anything else on that, or can we move forward with
Do we need to vote
Accepting.
on the money or?
or
I
vote
don't
on?
think we have a source identified.
But vote, do we need to adopt this like estimate? Or are you good with?
If you guys want to vote to move ahead with it, pending, or with the assumption, I don't know, assumption's not a good, but,
The understanding?
with the confidence that we will find funding.
I think we need to vote for somebody to sign the acceptance.
We have Karen sign it?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I move to authorize the town administrator to sign the acceptance of the estimate from Novus as presented at tonight's meeting.
Seconded.
All right. Steven?
Yes.
And yes. Alyssa
Yes.
And Jeff.
Yes.
Thank you.
You want more good news?
Yeah.
Dave from the wastewater station was down here last week, very concerned because we have a pump in the bottom and then we have a backup pump, and apparently they're both about the same age. Pump number 1, which is the one we're running on, started springing leaks. So he shut that down. And we were running on pump number 2, which made him very nervous because it's got the same issues, just not leaking. So, fortunately, and then when he first came in, it was unclear when we could get parts. Looks like the parts might be a month out, not 8 months, which was what he was really concerned about. He has an emergency backup plan in place, which involves a number of local septic companies to come and just pump. If this pump goes down, sewer levels will start filling basements. So
Thought that this is not what we addressed in an emergency repair.
Yep, you have appropriated money for this.
Oh, okay.
And it's,
This
it
is what
will
he talked about.
definitely fit within that, but
Oh,
just,
okay.
it kind of went from.
Like stable to,
Yeah,
to like
kind of
very,
wobbly to really wobbly.
but this is part of, because he came and presented to us about,
I think I looked and it was January or something like that.
yeah, that might be right. Yes,
And
and
you
then,
appropriated 125,000.
Right.
I think part one of that has been done. This is,
so was this expected, do we know? Like he knew these pumps needed to be,
yes,
Okay.
but,
It's
I
just-
hadn't planned on doing them just yet.
I see,
Um,
okay.
But there is money appropriated. for
Okay.
this.
Okay, good. Yeah, and this one, it's like whatever we need to do so that, because I remember him telling us the doomsday scenario was like everyone's basement flooding with sewage.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Okay, that gives me heartburn. All right, well, whatever.
So yeah,
Worked.
he's told the folks to order parts and,
Okay, good.
when we go through the CIP process, I really need to get a better sense from him. He's very concerned about a number of things within the wastewater system.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And none of that's gonna be cheap.
Nope.
So,
Nope.
I need to learn more on that. I'm learning quickly.
Okay.
The transfer station has a part-time position posted. Just a heads up. I actually haven't posted it yet. Dan was looking it over to make sure it was.
What did we lose?
Did we lose some? Or is it new?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because that has been sort of a moving target the last few
Yeah.
years. I honestly can't remember if we just added that back in and they hadn't filled it or.
Yeah.
So we came in and we filled it, I think, again, over the winter, and that, it was not that person that left, it was the other one.
Huh, okay.
And I don't know why. I haven't sent a letter.
Okay.
Dan was in today. He was unfortunately out last week. He was ill, but he's back. And he said that the brand new 10-wheel dump truck that is sitting in his shop, minus the dump body, is going to be sitting there for a while because the dump body has now, initially they said that he'd have it in, August, September. Now they're pushing it back to January, February.
Ew.
So this is one of the plow trucks.
Oh, no.
It's replacing.
Shoot.
It's replacing one of the, I don't remember the age of the other one, but he's going to keep the old one online and running. We have to, but that will eat away at the trade-in value
Shoot.
in that truck. Which was in the $40,000 range. So
Do we know what's going on with the one that's sitting there? Like, how's it broken?
that's the check. Oh, no, the brand new one, it doesn't have the dump body.
Oh,
It's
We're waiting
partially
for it?
assembled. Yeah, we're waiting for the dump body.
got it.
Which is
Okay.
where they, that whole rear end mechanism where they
And it's just behind schedule.
just behind schedule, yeah.
Okay.
And he mentioned, he'd priced it out and had a couple of different people and their lead times were similar, but unfortunately these folks are pretty busy and
Yeah.
been pushed out. Those are the ones I'm thinking, the hot buttons, the good news.
Yeah, what's the bad news? That's the good news. Okay, thank you.
I have questions. I always have questions, I'm sorry.
Sure.
You had mentioned last meeting that we were on a list for a grant.
Congressional discretionary spending?
Yes.
Yes.
Have you heard anything else?
No.
Cool, just curious. And then
Trust me, when we hear anything, you will
you would
hear.
say
Shouted at the
something.
rooftops, yeah.
Hear it.
And then the other one is, as everyone knows, there's been a change to the 103, 202 merger and some surprise about the removal of one of the mergers. And I was wondering if you had heard anything more from anyone.
I have not heard anything more. Did I put the info in? I did send it separately to you folks.
Okay.
How?
Yes, and to be clear, this is a DOT project.
Right.
On state-run roads.
Oh, 100%. I
I'm
think
just
what
saying
I'm
that
saying is
public.
they had communicated to the town that they would be removing the one. This is 202, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah,
202.
month.
They would be removing the one from 202 onto 103. It feels less clear that they communicated that they're moving the one from 103 onto 202.
the only place I saw that
Whatever ones.
communicated was in the letter,
Mm-hmm.
which was sent with a photo that did not match the letter.
Yeah.
So,
You shouldn't have passed. But do we know, does anyone on the town side like have a problem with, I mean, we didn't expect it, but do we know from like I assume the DOT had a reason. I mean, they have like engineers and other people who do this, so I assume they had a reason for getting that out of there.
I mean, I don't have like a scientifically based problem. I just have a problem. So take with that what you will.
I'm sure it was designed by engineers to meet radiuses and all that and. It specs.
I think I would just want to know if there was a pathway, if there was pushback about that particular merger, which if there's anything we could do, that's all. If we get to the school year and we're seeing huge backups up that road, if there is a recourse. Because and that's not like, I don't think we have an answer to that.
Yeah,
Because I do think traffic at that intersection moves the way it moves because cars can sneak by and go to the right. And then when we have half the town try and get to Harold Martin at 8 a.m. down that road and through that intersection, I'm just curious as to what will happen, but we'll know in 3 weeks.
Well, don't forget the first week is always.
I won't
a
count the
night-
first week, I promise.
yeah.
I promise.
'Cause that
I
is
will wait
always
till the
back.
second week of September to start judging.
I will be interested to see because I have gone for that intersection multiple times every day for 10 years and there's a car or two that can go to the right, but I don't know how much of an impact it will actually have. So yes, we'll
We'll
have to
see.
see how it goes. And then I think we would have to like officially request a change, I assume, because it's state.
Yeah.
Plus the state is planning on paving, I think both 103 and 202 at some point relatively soon.
I know, I guess what I'm saying is I just don't want to lose advocacy and lose voice just because they're not technically our roads. They are in the center of one of our villages. And so
Yeah.
if we are experiencing issues, I want us to feel comfortable speaking up, even if we don't know who to speak up to.
Mhm.
One sort of thought, I mean, I don't know if regional planning has any information about why that lane was removed.
regional planning developed this picture.
Yeah,
And this is what was sent to DOT, as here's what we'd like to do.
okay,
Which again, did leave that little,
right,
It left it in
the
there.
little, I'm gonna call it the little merge.
Oh, I
yeah.
like that.
Do we think like
When
is it
petites
possible
merge.
this was a error?
Wouldn't that be hilarious?
I think it's worth flagging and asking them, I mean, did you guys intentionally remove?
I mean, they intentionally did
Well,
it.
yeah, I
because-
mean, that's not what we sort of understood was gonna happen.
Right, and I don't think that's what was part of the traffic study a couple years ago.
Mm-mm,
Well,
it was not.
yeah, well, the traffic study wasn't that done by Central New Hampshire Regional Planning.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
not to play devil's advocate, but I'm pretty sure the buck would stop with DOT.
Yeah,
And it's pretty clear that they took this and did something different. The only place that's mentioned that it comes out is in the letter, which I thought was kind of interesting because their photo does, their picture doesn't even match.
How does one politely ask, did you intend to do this?
I
Was
asked-
this the
I
intention?
asked for the drawings, if I could have the as-built or the plan drawings for this. I have not heard that.
I mean, I
Well,
think we can
thank you.
ask, what's the basis for removing this lane?
yeah, because if they said it's a safety issue and they
Yeah.
had some engineer who
Yeah.
was like, it had to go out, that would be helpful.
Yeah, that would be helpful, because I don't understand either.
Yeah.
And it would be good to know,
Thanks, all.
yeah.
Thank you. Is that it?
That's it. That's it
Okay,
for me.
love it. All right. Okay, so that brings us to the public forum. Anyone online, you can raise your hand. Or our live audience members if there's any public comments. All right.
I see two hands went up. Go ahead.
If you did allow to talk on Bonnie, can you talk? Oh, and iPhone 4.
I think I just muted, so.
No,
We can hear you. Bonnie, we can hear you, but
We hear you.
iPhone 4 needs to be muted. We don't know who that is. Okay. All right, Bonnie, go ahead.
Okay. Whoops. What am I doing wrong here?
We can hear you.
Oh, I'm getting this echo feedback.
Oh, sorry.
You guys aren't that good. A couple of things I want to follow up on the progress of the fence at the dump that we've been advocating for. And I know it's only August, but never too soon. Snow will fly before you know it. And I see that the fence has been put up way. And it does put up a barrier to the section of the wetland. However, it's the same plastic snow fence that they put up last, which immediately fell down. And this one is again already falling down, and it's only summer. So I'm just trying to keep it in, in process so we know what's happening and what's completed.
Yeah, we can follow up on that, because I remember talking about it when we did a tour of the transfer station a couple months ago, and I feel like there was a reason why that fencing was being used, but honestly, I now cannot remember, but we could follow up with Jolene on the fence status.
So this is fencing at the transfer station where?
I'm very bad with directions to try to describe.
Bonnie, is it the plastic fence as you enter the transfer station?
Yes, on the left.
Yep.
Okay, I was thinking of
It's
also
meant-
behind where all the stacks of crushed stuff is going down into like the ravine, but that might be different.
I think
No,
that would be good to get an update on that as well.
Okay.
It wasn't supposed to be the plastic one this round. I remember when we discussed it with Jolene, she had wanted a different fence and they'd ordered an incorrect one. And it was sitting in a container when we did the tour. And then Neil did a follow-up for us before he left and they'd gotten the correct fence. They just hadn't gotten around to it yet. And so to hear that the plastic fence is up I was there today, I just didn't notice it, I guess. It's surprising because I could have sworn that there was gonna be a different fence
Maybe
this
they
time.
just haven't put up maybe they're saving it for winter. We'll have to
Well, we
check.
had suggested that a chain link be the best because of the being flimsy down and so forth.
You're coming in and out, Bonnie. Can you say that again?
Chain link.
We had suggested a chain link fence, the Conservation Commission and the Waste Committee, because that seemed to have the best potential for keeping waste from going off into the wetlands and down into the ravine.
I
And-
do remember Jolene saying that a chain link fence would, because it doesn't bend, it'll just break as they're trying to plow and clear areas. But that they had come up with another solution that wasn't the same flimsy plastic fence that was going to meet the needs that you were describing, but also be able to withstand the being like the plowing and all that happens.
Okay. I wonder if Jeff, if you can give an update to Jeff and he can bring it to our next Waste Committee meeting.
Yeah, we'll follow up on the
Yeah.
fed status.
Awesome.
Thank you, Bonnie.
And I do have another thing. I found it very useful a couple of times in select board meetings. We've asked for reports from select board liaisons to the committees as to what they're doing. And I know Alyssa's done some good feedback from the housing committee. I think that would be very useful if that's done on a regular basis. Because we, and the waste committee, we often feel out of touch with what's going on, if anybody knows what we're doing or cares. And there is no select board liaison with the Conservation Commission. So just want to put in a pitch for that.
Wait, what was the last thing you said about conservation? You are broken up a little bit.
We don't have a select board liaison.
Really?
Yeah, Bonnie, so the committee updates are actually a standing agenda item right after public forum. So they're there every select
Oh.
board meeting now. And Jeff has given us updates. And what you just pointed out for the committees that don't have select board members, that is a later part in my mind of the committee project of linking back up committees with the select board in a way where more information is moving naturally. So I
Okay,
don't have
okay.
like a vision yet of what it looks like. But sitting on committee now, I see what you're saying about feeling siloed and feeling a bit alone and like, is the work we're doing linking back up with the work everyone else is doing? And I'm not suggesting adding more meetings or anything to the calendar, but simply finding means by which we more authentically share information.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds good.
Thanks for the feedback. We lost iPhone 4.
Phone 4 went away.
Oh,
All right, well, we'll give them another minute to see if they call back in. Anyone else online? All right, well, if they come back and they raise their hand, we can let them back in. We can move on to, so Bonnie, I think, has to be taken off as a, you can mute her. There you go. Although she's still, I don't know why she's still showing up there.
well, it's not just about the muting. You have to take them off, remove,
Yeah, remove.
permission to talk.
Okay, so that brings us to board committee updates.
Housing committee met last week. So yes, housing committee met and had a chance to continue working on the recommendations that are going to the planning and zoning boards. The work is hard. It's a bit of a slog. And as a committee, in my observation, we toggle a lot between the semantics of what do we need to vote on and what do we want to put our names next to versus discussing the meat of the matter in front of us. And I think some of that has to do with the fact that at the end of the day, we're not all going to agree with everything that's going forward, right? That's going forward, not as like a recommendation from the housing committee, but going forward as here is the work the housing committee did alongside the consultant. And so there's been some like, I've noticed some like getting caught up in, well, are we going to vote on this? We don't have to vote on this, but we should vote on this. Should we vote on this? Blah, blah, blah. And ultimately, folks just want to make sure that their pleasure or displeasure with a certain thing is noted. And that when they walk around town and engage with their community members, that they feel represented in their own opinions. So that's been something I think that has, I realize has slowed the committee down. And also brings me to like, how do we best empower chairs to navigate that? For instance, for things where you don't need to have a vote, you can still take a recommends vote so that people can log their excitement or displeasure with something that's coming from the committee without feeling like they're getting automatically signed up to either defend or disprove something that they don't want to do because it's not what their heart and soul is in. That said, the work has continued and the consultants wrap up in just a couple weeks. And so they will be submitting their final reports pretty soon, at which point the work of the housing committee does not finish. It simply takes a portion of that and passes it forward, and then we'll continue like picking apart other portions to pass forward on future years. The idea being if we dump everything over at once, it's just not going to work, right? It overwhelms everyone to have to parse through all of that. So step by step, day by day. The most recent conversation was about subdivisions. I'd have to go and look at the paperwork again. My brain did not retain everything, but it was really about lot sizes and density and housing types, and also just the definition of words, right? Because when you get into housing, words matter so much. And there was such a difference between what is in our vernacular versus what is defined by the state or so.
Yeah.
Housing committee is working really hard. I will say, like, their discussions are robust. So,
Thank you for doing that.
I mean, thank all of them. I just show up and crack the occasional joke and cheer them on because I have no background in housing. That said, it is a really hard working group and they're like really working through it. That's not true. I do more than just crack jokes, guys, but you should come. It is a great show.
I don't know if I ever gave my open space committee update, but it centered around you coming to talk to the group about the housing committee, which was super helpful. But I think it highlighted sort of a bigger picture issue of the need for most likely the select board, but I guess like all of us in town to try to, I don't know, like weave these issues together. Like that was a good example where like the open space committee has its charge and like, you know, does its thing, but it's helpful to know what's going on in the world of housing. And so we did have a nice discussion around sort of like strategic governance and like having more of a vision for the town that goes beyond the master plan. So that was like a very good.
It was a lovely conversation.
Thank you for spending time with us.
I mean, I opened it after they asked me for my update by saying, could you please explain to me exactly what your committee does? And they were so kind in responding to me, because I was like, before I say anything, you have to explain to me what is happening here.
Yes, that was a good meeting. Have you had any?
No, so I'm on the EDC and the Energy Committee, and those two committees have not met since our last meeting. Both of them tried, but we had quorum issues both times. So I have nothing further to report.
Jeff, do you have anything?
Sorry about that. No, we don't.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your diligence on this committee's issue.
What I call
Okay, does anyone have anything for other?
I have one other, and it relates to that abatement one we talked about.
Possible reported?
Yeah, it's in our signature packet, and it looks like the abatement payment that reflects the net payment is not in here. It's the abatement form for only one lot, and then the abatement form for only the other lot, but not the combined one.
So, okay,
So I don't know what we should
I think if you
do.
do both, then it would be two separate lines on the check.
Okay, we can do it that way. I just didn't want the wrong payment to go to the property owner.
No,
Yeah,
we'll make it.
that's all. Okay, I will sign them and pass it around.
All right. We have one non-public, and after that, we will adjourn and not conduct any other business. So thank you to everyone who joined us. And
How does that work with Jeff? Does he just stay on?
No,
all one of us, but so I will move that we go into non-public under RSA 91A32C.
Seconded.
Okay, Jeff, it's a roll call vote. Stephen?
Yes.
I'm a yes, Melissa's a yes.
Yes.
That's three of us at least. All right, thank you everyone who joined us tonight.
Thank
Yes,
you.
sorry.
Okay.
All right.
So Jeff, do you want to want me just to call you?
That'll be fine.
Okay.